Am I the a-hole for not accepting my brother and sister's relationship? Plus updates. My mom and dad had me very young. Their relationship ended when I was 2, and it did not end well. There were a lot of accusations, but no one ever admitted to anything, and so they just sort of contentiously co-parented me. About 5 years after the relationship ended, my mom and dad both met their future spouses. Stepmom and stepdad were great for the co-parent relationship, and my parents weren't so concerned with what the other parent was doing. My parents would still fight, but it wasn't nearly as bad. More passive-aggressive instead of outright yelling. Eventually, my mom had a daughter with stepdad and my dad had a son with stepmom. I watched my siblings grow up since I was a decade older, spending more time with my sister because she lived with my mom. As a result, my brother and sister, not related but shared me as a brother, spent time together as kids. Not every weekend, but playing during my sports game or when they were invited to each other's birthday parties. When I was 15 or 16, my parents had a big fight that basically destroyed their relationship. I am still not sure what it was about because neither the parents nor stepmom/stepdad will talk about it, but they stopped talking to one another completely. I was gifted a car and started driving myself to and from. My brother and sister basically stopped seeing each other, and my family shifted into 2 fractions, and I have kept my lives separate from one another to keep the peace. There have been a few unavoidable events like graduations, but those have been few and cordial. Last week, my sister Grace, now 19 female, dropped the bombshell that she met up with my brother Anthony, 20 male, through mutual friends. They remembered each other and exchanged numbers. They had been communicating and even started dating. She was telling me because they were interested in continuing the relationship and wanted my blessing. I didn't lie. I got angry. I said that this was the worst idea ever. Not only do they share a sibling though they are not blood related, but their parents hate each other and have gone to great lengths to have no contact for the last 10 plus years. She thinks that they are over it, but I was the one that lived through it. They are my parents after all. I straight up told her the truth, that this relationship was doomed and it needed to end before they got serious feelings. I know some will say that I am an a-hole, but I am not thinking of me. My parents will already be tied together forever because of me, which they have accepted that was their decision. But will they be able to accept their other child choosing the child of their hated ex-spouse? I don't think so. Grace pretty much told me not to project my parents' relationship onto her, which honestly I agree. But these are her and Anthony's parents too. Shouldn't they be thinking of them? By the way, Anthony has not responded to my texts or calls since I found out. Am I the a-hole for not accepting my brother and sister's relationship? Now for the top comments before reading the mini updates. Well, I'm about to get it. I say not the a-hole. You don't have to accept it. And I think you're right. I don't think your parents will be happy attending a wedding where both have to be present for things like father-daughter dance, etc. However, now that you said what needed to be said and how you feel, if they decide to pursue the relationship, that is their choice, and you have to respect that, even though you don't like it. I wouldn't like it if I was in your shoes. If they continue to pursue the relationship, then it will work its natural course and all will work out in the end. Info. OP, which side will you sit on? I honestly don't see the problem with the relationship by itself. They're not blood related and have never had brother-sister relationship. However, I am not joking when I tell you that the bitterness of my parents know no bounds. They are so much better when they are apart. With their current spouses, you would never guess that they could harbor so much resentment. My sister has less of an idea about this, because my mom was always better at keeping the beef to a minimum in front of the kids. My dad tried, but he has always been better getting it off his chest, and we can hear him from upstairs. So Anthony knows what he is getting into. I was mostly posting, but yeah, that has to be super weird for you. And lots of family don't understand that you're marrying the family too. Honestly, they're super young, so it probably won't last, and you'll have a cringy story to tell. Not a-hole. She asked for your blessing, which implies your opinion. You gave it, so she really shouldn't have expected a better reaction. It is weird you could have taken it even worse. You're also really entitled to not want to deal with your parents being together more often. This will affect you. Your opinions and feelings are valid. The siblings are way out of line. Your brother is probably dodging your calls because he knows how weird it is and how badly you will take it. He obviously didn't care enough to prioritize your feelings. So still crappy, but at least understands you're a person with feelings. Now for the updates. Just got off the phone with Anthony and he knows how the relationship will be perceived, especially by our dad. That is why he and Grace have been dating quietly to test the waters before agreeing to come out. Now that time has come, and they're telling me first, then the parents next. Anthony was using me as a gauge for how our dad and Grace's mom will react, and obviously he wasn't pleased with the result. I pretty much told him what I told Grace, that you have an uphill battle before anything has really happened. But I did tell him something that I didn't tell Grace. I told him that I would stand behind them, because yes, it is weird as heck, but at the end of the day, no laws were being broken, so I was cool. I will let you know how my mom and dad take it. Now that things are decided, there is no way Grace won't tell my mom. Anthony will be slower to tell our dad. We will see how it plays out. Mini update number 2. It is World War III at my mom's house right now, as she and Grace are epically fighting about her relationship with my brother. Neither of them would get on the phone with me when I called the house, but I could hear them yelling at one another. I think it is safe to say that my stepdad was not pleased. When I was talking to him on the phone, he kept reiterating that I would need to call back at a better time. I called Anthony and told him he might want to get on to telling Dad before my mom got her wits about her and called him with the news. I just drove to my dad's because he can be pretty short-sighted sometimes, and I knew Anthony would be cowardly and call instead of doing it in person. I'd gotten there after the call and my stepmother was just bustling about, kind of sighing to herself, like she couldn't believe that my brother would walk into this drama without consulting her. But my dad was the most surprising. I asked how he was doing and he just said that it was something every young man would go through. He didn't really say more than that, and I had to go. But I am pretty sure he was implying that every man would have to go through that mistake girl. But that mistake girl is my sister, so there is that. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepmother and stepsister not to ask questions they don't want to hear the answers to during a therapy session? I'm in therapy with my stepmother Emma and stepsister Luna, 12. Em and my dad have been married for 8 years. I lost my mom to cancer when I was 5, and now I'm losing my dad to cancer as well. Because I've never been all that close with Emma or Luna, and because I was asked, I told my dad I would like to keep the previous plans for me if I lost both parents, which is going to my maternal grandparents. Emma decided we need therapy together, the 3 of us, while Dad is still here. We have been going on for 4 months now. The idea of therapy is that when Dad is gone, we remain a family. Emma wants that. Luna wants that. But I don't. Emma's always known that for me. Any interest in her was always going to have to factor my dad into the equation. Luna kinda knows that as well, and I was never the sister she wanted me to be. For a couple of weeks, they would ask me if I was removing them from my table when Dad dies. That's the expression a therapist has us using, to basically ask if we'll be in each other's lives when he goes. The therapist wouldn't let that be asked right away. She wanted to work on some other things first. But she has allowed a question, but as also said, I do not need to answer. She reaffirmed that last time, saying maybe it was something Emma and I should be discussing without Luna present. Emma said Luna deserves to know if her sister doesn't care about her. The therapist said it was not the way things should be worded, and especially not to a child. But Emma said it was clear I knew my answer, and I should answer. I told her it was clear she knew the answer, and would not take hearing it very well, and neither would Luna, so they should not ask questions they don't want the actual answers to. I told her they were looking to be mad at me, but first I needed to say it out loud. Emma is furious. I know Luna is upset, and I feel bad she was there to hear it all. She loves me and has never called me her stepsister or thought of me as not her sibling, and I have never returned that, and it sucks for her. Emma told me I was a smart mouth, and that at 16 I should know better than to throw away my family. She told me I should not hold all the bad decisions she made regarding me against her and Luna, and that I should not take Luna's only sibling from her when she's losing the only father she knew as well, and the only one who cared. I told her she should never have brought us to therapy in the first place when she knew what was happening. Am I the a-hole for what I said, though? Not a-hole in my opinion. Here's why. It's clear she started the sessions just to manipulate y'all and get what she thought would be a backing up from the therapist that you should stay with the family. The situation leading to the argument in the therapist's office was all her. She pressured you to answer the question, and you gave your honest feelings. Now, yes, it was a little catty to say, shouldn't ask questions you don't want the answers to, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, you were right. If you don't want them in your life, they should be able to respect that. From the way you put it, they could feel that you were in that position, but the stepmom still pressed you. My question, how does your father feel about it? Does he also want y'all to stay as a family? I think he would like it if I did. But he respects my wishes and decided to speak to my grandparents, and they will take me when it's gone. But he hasn't been involved in therapy. He's too sick to be dealing with the drama of it. Okay, so sounds like she made her own decision to take you to therapy, just to convince you, and honestly, that's messed up. You are young. She shouldn't be pushing so hard when that kind of dynamic was never there. Maybe it's part of her grief and she wants to hold on to everyone she can. But if you were never mother-daughter dynamically, why push so hard? Hope things aren't tense during this tough time with you and your dad because of the stepmom being insufferable about your feelings, and I wish your father recovery, Opie. Not a-hole. People shouldn't ask questions they don't want the answers to. And also, your stepmother saying you shouldn't hold her actions towards you against her is pretty rich. Who should take responsibility for that? The Easter Bunny? Not a-hole. Nobody. She thinks it should all be dismissed away as her having good intentions or whatever. Good intentions can't always save you from being disliked for your actions, though. My mother used to say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Not a-hole. Exactly. My grandma says that sometimes too, and I agree with it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she needs to start helping around the house? I, 14 male, have 3 sisters who we will refer as Annie, Beth, and Chloe. Annie and Beth live with my dad and myself, while Chloe lived with my mom. My parents split up when I was about 7 or 8. My mom got all of us. Chloe was not born yet. It was about 2017 at this point, and we lived with my grandma and saw my dad every other weekend. Things were good. Then fast forward to 2019 and my mom met someone who we'll refer to as Dave. Dave was a good guy, and I genuinely liked him, and so did my siblings. We moved in with Dave and still saw my dad every other weekend. It was this way for about 3 years, and in 2021, Chloe was born. My mom and Dave's relationship had started to become rocky, so they split up for a while. They eventually got back together in a few weeks, and this happened a few more times. In 2022, after I had gone back to school, things started to get rocky again. My mom split up with Dave and met another guy we will call Jake. Jake was also a pretty good guy, and we all liked him. At this point, it was November of 2022, and things were going pretty good. Besides the fact my mom was no longer with Dave, which I was taking pretty hard because he had taught me a lot over the years, and I truly looked up to him. But I quickly got over it and faced the fact it wasn't going to get fixed this time. My mom and Jake had a house, and a nice one at that. At this point, Annie and Beth had gone to live with my dad because of the intensity of the breakup between my mom and Dave. I stayed with mom to help with Chloe, as she was almost due, and was Dave's kid. After a while, about early January, Jake did some things which I won't disclose, which led to a breakup between them. So at this point, it's early January of 2023, and my mom just broke up with Jake. Over time, she had been slowly mending things with Dave, and they decided to get back together. I was very happy, and we started moving back in with Dave and I attended my old school. Skip to about April of 2023, and my mom and Dave were arguing again. Dave was always working and never home to see Chloe, and my mom didn't like it. So now they are going through a custody battle for Chloe. The reason I'm writing this post is because I got upset with my mom. Because ever since Chloe was about 6 months old, I've pretty much had to raise her. My mom sits in her car and scrolls on her phone most of the day. I don't even want to know what goes on while I'm away at school. I assume she doesn't care what Chloe does, and the house is always a mess. Since Annie and Beth have gone to live with my dad, I've had to take on their chores too. And with my mom out in the car all day and me having to watch Chloe and clean from the time I get home, it's impossible to get a house clean. I do have to admit, I don't start as soon as I get home and I do slack off sometimes. And my mom gets angry whenever she finally comes inside after hours of being in the car to see the house isn't spotless like she wants it. Am I the a-hole? If I read this long, confusing post right, you are not the a-hole. You are a child raising a child. Parentification is a form of abuse. Talk to your dad and Dave, and if they don't react, you have CPS to protect you, since your mom is neglecting you and Chloe. You need to move in with your dad. Your mom needs to sort things out, but you are enabling her. He is 14 years old. He isn't enabling anyone. He's been thrust into a crappy situation where none of the adults seem to care. I would move in with my dad, but I'm scared something bad will happen to Chloe if I do. That is not on you. Your mom is an adult. She is responsible for your sibling, not you. Look up parentification. You need stability. You need to focus on school, being with friends your age, and not parenting your sibling and your mom. Not the a-hole. Your mom needs to step up and be the adult. It's not your responsibility as a 14-year-old to keep the house clean, raise a child, and go to school. I think if it comes down to it, try and see if Dave would take you in as well.